Hello, better late than never. Welcome back to the Final Flight podcast. So now that we've finally got Rich's sound issues sorted, we're back with another weekend preview, although we're not too sure what's going to go on, but the rain's obviously dismantling the calendar at the moment, but we're going to try and wade through it anyway, just in case it is on. But yeah, we're back and we're going to look at the Charlie Hall at Wetherby and a couple of other anything else is for later. So I'll come to you, Joe, mate. Obviously, the weather's absolutely shocking at the moment. I mean, I'm not too far from Wetherby and it's chucking it down. So, I mean, if it's on, it's going to be a decent weekend. What are your thoughts, mate? Start us off.
Yeah, can't wait, mate. I think fingers crossed it's on anyway because I'm going Friday, Saturday, so there's some good horses there. Brave Man's Game. Fingers crossed we'll get to see him, a superstar locally. All eyes on the inspection tomorrow. I know that'll be for a lot of people because I think if that's called off and then you've got the meeting in Ireland, down Royal, was it?
Yep.
Sent to next week as well. It'll be a bit of a dampener on a weekend that was sort of really promising at one point.
Yeah, it's a shame Dan rolls off, but at the same time, I think it's really good how they've sort of acted as quick as they have and made sure that, look, we're just going to reschedule it for next week, full cards, which is great. And hopefully, if Wetherby is off, whatever reason, that they do manage to reschedule it for next week as well with a bit of luck. I suppose I'll suit a few people. I mean, I'll come to you, Rich, on a bit of the word. I mean, it's obviously not the best. We're going to end up having a quiet weekend, but I mean, one of your favourites is going to be running, obviously, Brave Man's Game, going to the Charlie Hall now, finally confirmed by Nichols. I mean, I think if it's rescheduled, it'll probably be in his favour even more, wouldn't you thought, if it's a week later as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be ground suitable enough for him to run, you don't want to put any horses at risk. It'll be a disappointment if it's cancelled, but I don't know. I read somewhere that potentially they're at capacity for the rain level, so any more that does drop, I think it's going to call it, unfortunately. But we'll see. You never know.
Yeah, we'll see. And like I say, we'll go through a couple of the races. We won't go through it into too much detail just in case it is off. But if it is on, it's going to be interesting because I do think it obviously be heavy ground. It's already soft with plenty of rain overnight. I think it's meant to be a pretty nice day tomorrow, to be fair, but we shall see. Anyway, we'll kick off with the 115, a trappy little four-runner race, novice chase, over 3 mile. Obviously, we were hoping Irocco was going to come up here, and that's the reason why we're going to go see him. I'm now back at work tomorrow, so that'll be fun for me. I know you're still going to go, Joe, but he's obviously going to. He's entered in Warwick on Tuesday, so looking forward to seeing him finally get out. And if you want to have a little note on him, if you go back and watch the Cheltenham Anti-Post videos, week 1 and 2, you'll see a little bit of the reasons why we like him. Anyway, in here, we've got obviously the mare at the top of the market, odds-on favourite, Apple Away. Skelton's Grey Dawning. Ballydesmond for Gavin Sheehan and Warrior's Fate for Charlie Todd. Now, I'll come to you first then, Joe, to kick us off, mate. What are your thoughts on Apple Away?
A good horse, don't get me wrong, but for me, a horse who's won races which aren't the pinnacle in a way. So, for example, Skip Cheltenham going to Waintree, obviously beat our beloved Irocco. Irocco giving weight away, and a lot of horses, it is well known, don't really come out of Cheltenham as well as they like and don't really hit the ground running at Aintree, albeit, Apple Away is a great horse, but for me, I just think she's vulnerable, especially at that price. And I do like the Skelton runner, Grey Dawning. Dan Skelton's won this 3 times out the last 10, and his strike rate at Wetherby since 2019 and 2020 season is 29%, and Harry Skelton's strike rate is 31%. So obviously they're big numbers coming here. But for me, I just think Grey Dawning, unbeaten in bumpers, winner of 3 out of his last 4. He fell against Apple Away at Aintree, and I thought he was travelling well. There was no need really to write the horse off when he did fall. And I just think, I know there's not a huge price difference, but I'd rather take a horse, I believe, around 7-5 than odds on for a horse who, albeit won a good race at Aintree last season, but going chasing now, there's a lot of questions to ask. It's going to be a slog. Is she going to want it? Is she not?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of in the same boat as you. I mean, I'll come to you, Rich, with a couple of points in there. I mean, there's just something about this Apple Away. I think over hurdles you can maybe get away with it, but when you start going chasing, you've got mares against the boys. I just think it could be really tough for them unless you've got a real superstar now. I mean, I quite like Grey Dawn, and obviously Joe's mentioned there, he's got good form. He's done all right on heavy ground as well, so you think he'd do all right tomorrow if it is on. Obviously got to give a little bit of weight away to Apple Away. I think, to be fair, I mean, the only thing I'll say for Apple Away, I think if she's going to win a chase against the boys, it'll probably be tomorrow in a really small field when she can maybe get away with it. I think once you start getting against the top level ones in the bigger races, I think she might come up short. So what are your thoughts on it, mate?
I think she wins, personally. I mean, it's not a betting race for me. Let me just have a quick look at the weights win. Basically, I think she wins mainly due to the mare weight allowance that she gets. The jockey's taking £3 off. I just think over that sort of distance, it could be too much for any of these. Grey Dawn, I just looked at his form. He beat Ginny's Destiny last time out, but then he completely bombed out at Cheltenham last weekend, so I wouldn't really take that as a strong piece of form. She's an Irish point winner, so I think she'll take defences. She's a winner over 3 miles over the hurdles last season. She's won on good ground, soft ground. I don't think the ground's going to be too much of an issue for her. Like you say, she beat Irocco, Maximilian, Stay Away Faye, Aintree. Obviously, she was the fresher horse, and yeah, you can probably say that all the horses were behind her were aimed for Cheltenham. This was maybe a secondary sort of target. But yeah, I just think she wins, just mainly because of the weight allowance. And yeah, she's got an Irish point winning background, so I think she's going to be all right.
Yeah, I mean, it is quite a big allowance. I think she gets about £10 tomorrow. So, I mean, it's one of them where half the time you're thinking, is it really fair that she's getting that much weight? But like I said, I do think if she's going to win, it's going to be tomorrow. I won't be confident myself taking her for any sort of big festival races unless she maybe goes to the Mares Chase. If she steps up for that potentially. But just something about it. I think like the likes of Irocco, Stay Away Fair are going to go over fences. I think that if they were to reoppose, I would have them reversing the form of that Aintree race. Like I've said on many occasions, I kind of put a line through that. If you've got horses skipping Cheltenham and taking on festival winners or festival horses, I just feel like they have a little bit of I'm going to try and catch you on the day sort of thing. So I know there's quite a few people on Twitter who like Apple Away, but yeah, I'd be a bit cautious backing her for anything at the big festival sort of thing. But
yeah, I just don't think it's a very deep race tomorrow. So if she's going to win, this is the sort of race she'll be winning.
Yeah, I mean, Grey Dawn is, he's a good yardstick. He like the heavy ground. He's obviously good. I mean, Skelton's record with horses going chasing has been pretty decent, and he definitely improves them. So it'd be interesting to see how she gets on against somebody like that. Obviously, getting £10, the weight, the mare's allowance, and the £3 that I think it's Wadge takes off. Like I say, if she's going to win, it's probably going to be tomorrow. But if she does win, unless she absolutely routs them, I'd still be thinking, well, she's kind of entitled to win it, and she's not a backable price, obviously. So it ain't really a betting race; it's more of a race. I'll be looking at it to see how she gets on, and try and judge her based on tomorrow.
Yeah.
Great, right? Well, that's that one done then. If she ever plays, if it was going to face Irocco again, she gets absolutely mullered. Because Irocco is the next big thing. Other fences. Right, moving on before I get too caught up on my favourite horse now in training. So 225 is another tough one. The listed juvenile race over 2 miles now. And I'll come to you first, Rich. Obviously, we're brave going into a juvenile race where you're looking at 3-year-olds, but especially on this sort of ground. I mean, have you managed to have a look? I mean, I've had a bit of a little look, and I've got maybe a tiny opinion, but what are your thoughts on it, pal?
I've had a look. It's a bit of a tricky race for me. Nothing really stands out. The one I've kind of landed on is Balboa for Milton Harris. I think he's about 6s maybe, but
you get 8-1 currently.
8-1. It's a good each way price. I mean, like you say, the only reason I've kind of landed on him is he's won on heavy ground last time out over the distance. He seems to be improving. This is obviously a lot harder race, but he acts on the ground, and we know he can do the distance. So he's the one I'm going to take a little punt on, I think. But yeah, no real strong opinion apart from that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of looked at that Balboa race, and I thought it won it quite well. But once I was informed of the fact that every single horse behind him couldn't jump a hurdle like they'd never seen a hurdle before, I kind of put that form in the bin. But I'll come to you, Joe. What are your thoughts on it?
I think the favourites definitely want to take on. I think he's favourite now. I still have faith. I think there's too many holes in there. Obviously, first run over the 2 mile trip last time. I know won well, but was on good ground. Would that horse want a bit of a slog like it's going to be tomorrow if it's on? I don't think not. I quite like Gifted Angel. I'm just looking through here and won it over 2 mile before and 2 mile one. So obviously stays the trip. Good to soft. Being put up for the last run, a £10 penalty, but Gavin Sheehan on £12 days after, reappearing. I think the sort of coming here looking at the race and thinking it's a weak race. Our horse is probably improving. 3 wins out of 5 now going hurdling. What is there to lose really? It's definitely not a betting race for me. Especially, I wouldn't be on good ground anyway, but not heavy ground. I think it's going to be a right slug tomorrow, to be honest. And do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if you see a lot of 20 plus 20 to 1 winners.
Yeah, I think if it is on, I think there'll be a lot of probably big. If anyone likes a bit of a distance bet, there could be a few of them because I think there'll be a few that don't take to this ground at all, pulled up sort of thing. But the one I maybe landed on as a real sort of tentative vote was Royal D-Side. I thought he was one that I sort of looked through. It kind of run okay at Sandown. Sorry, he ran at Sandown on heavy ground. It come fourth or was it fifth? Sorry. He was fourth. He was only beaten 5.5 lengths. He didn't run too bad on the heavy ground, and then he's gone again on soft and come second over at Salisbury. So I thought he's kind of maybe improving and he might be one that handles the ground a little bit better than a few others. And I think that might just be all you need tomorrow. Obviously, if it's on, but again, a tentative vote on juvenile races, it's a tough one to call. I mean, you've got people backing stuff at Triumph this early as well. That's even crazy. Never mind stuff that's tomorrow. With 3-year-olds, anything could happen, but the tough little races. But I'd have a little each way on Roll D-Side, and that's probably about it for that race. Happy?
Cool, yeah.
Perfect. Right, so the last race we're going to do on the Saturday
Right.
is a decentish race. The 3 o'clock. It's a handicap chase, Premier Handicap. You've got Famous Bridge in here for Nicky Richards, Shamblu, the 9-year-old coming back, Skelton, Frero, Bamboo, Warlord, No Risk Day Flow, and a couple of others. I'll come to you, Rich. Who are you with here? Is it going to be the old Shamblu back at Wetherby? Is he going to go and win again?
No, not for me. There's 2 that I looked at. One of them was Famous Bridge, dual winner at the course. So obviously he likes the track. He's gone up £3 since for his last win. That was over 3 miles on soft. Obviously, massive drop in distance, but potentially with the ground, it could feel like a 3 mile sort of race. He has won over 2 miles 5 though, so I won't be too concerned with the drop in trip. The one I'm kind of interested in is Warlord. You know, he's quite a decent horse back in the day. I'm kind of hoping that the wind surgery that he's had will kind of bring out the best of him. You know, he had his niggles last year. We probably didn't see the best of Warlord, but maybe it was something to do with his breathing. I mean, on ratings, he's probably well handicapped. You know, he was once rated 149. He's down to 140. He's won on soft and heavy going. Yeah, I'm kind of taking a little punt that the wind surgery might bring him back. But again, only a very small betting race for me.
Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time, don't you? Where horses, I mean, just looking there, he's pulled up last twice on soft, but them wind ups can work wonders with these horses. So if they have had a wind up, it's almost like you just got to take the chance on him and ignore the previous form and hope that they kind of bounce back. But I mean, I'll come to you. I mean, I quite like Famous Bridge in here for Nicky Richards. I think he looks really good. I don't think the dropping trip will be an issue. I think, like you say, it's going to be a stamina test no matter what tomorrow. I just thought he looked good. He looks a decent chase. He obviously won his last 2 starts last season, albeit on decent ground. But I just think he stays further, and with the conditions tomorrow, I don't think the dropping trip will be too bad. I think he could make it a stamina test, no problem. I quite like Famous Bridge. What about yourself, mate?
Yeah, 100% agree with what Rich said about the horse first and what you've just said. To be totally honest, you're on about length bets. I think this is probably one of the length bets. It wouldn't surprise me if they went from the front here. and sort of tried to get home from quite far out, increase the tempo and just kept going and going. And it wouldn't surprise me here to see him win by 10 plus lengths. I think Shan Blue's carrying a hell of a weight, a bit of a nutcase. I know he was obviously in the Ryanair a few years ago, but I think that's gone, and we'll probably see the best of him later on. This, 9-year-old coming back to Wetherby after a long break, carrying 12 stone, heavy ground. It's not going to really suit. And I think apart from that, you look through the race, and a lot of these horses, I know the Charlie Deutsch one, they've all slipped to quite attractive marks, but for me, they've all got big holes in. That they could either they could turn up and win the race by 10, but looking at the race and won his last 2 £4, we know gets the trip, shouldn't mind the ground. I can't really see anything wrong with the horse. To be fair, I think it is quite a big price. I can't really believe that Shamblu and the Nicky Richards horse are the same price, because I can't have Shamblu at all.
Yeah, I echo everything you've just said there. I just think Famous Bridge, he has been niggled at. It was a little bit bigger than Shamblu initially, but now he's a bit more similar price. And don't get me wrong, he's obviously rated. He's rated £19 less than Shamblu. £19 less than Shamblu, but he gets a hell of a lot of weight tomorrow, and it will definitely go on the ground.
A bit more.
Yeah, so he gets a hell of a lot of weight, and I just think he's an improving. Only 7-year-old, but he's like the race. I just think all of these coming off a break. I think he's probably the bet of the weekend for me, Famous Bridge. I really like him. I think he jumps really well, and I just think he's won on the sort of surface before, soft ground, and he's won Kelso 2 mile 5 soft ground. He won that with ease pretty much. He's just been improving with everyone, and I just really like him. So Famous Bridge. Obviously I'm giving away my nap later on, but I really like him, and I think he's 100%. Going to go really well.
Like you said there about likely race, he's only had 11 races in his career. 10 for Nicky Richards after he come from Ireland. And I just think this horse is going to probably take care of a poor field here.
Well, that's what I mean. He's had 4 chase starts. That's it, and he's won 2 of them. And I just think he'll go really well. I don't think he'll mind the ground. He won at Wetherby for 3 mile soft ground, so I think he can easily step back in trip. I don't get me wrong, Shamblu's been a fantastic servant, but like I say, 9-year-old now, carrying 12 stone on the ground tomorrow. I just think he'll be worth taking on, and I quite like Famous Bridge. So fingers crossed, if it's on, he can go and win.
Fingers crossed.
Right, so that's Saturday. Well, Friday, sorry, done. We'll move on to Saturday now. I've got 3 we're going to look at there. Saturday might be on if Friday's not on, depending on what they decide to do. If it's a dry day tomorrow, and if they call off tomorrow and it's a dry day, they might keep Saturday on potentially. Or they might just reschedule the whole thing. But we're going to go to the 150 on Saturday now. This is a really exciting race. Let's not beat around the bush. It's a mares hurdle listed race. And this is the sort of race that gets you excited for in the mares division. You've got Lucia in at current favourite. She's been backed in a little bit. Katera, one that Richie's like. You Wear It Well, the mares novice winner from last season. Stainsbury Girl, Salsada, Game On for Gory, Lone Star. Top 3 in the market. I'll come to you first, Rich. This is a pretty tasty race with these 3 going at it, and we're going to get a bit of a sort of view on the UK mares watching this race. What do you think, mate?
Yeah, exactly. You're going to find out who potentially could be at the top for the UK. The one I like is Katera for the Skeltons. She's unbeaten against her own sex. She finished 2nd against the Geldings at Aintree, beating the likes of Hermes Allen and You Wear It Well over 2 miles 4. She's a previous winner over the distance at Market Raisin last year. She's won on soft going at Utoxeter. There's a lot of things going for her. I think the yard were quite surprised when she finished 2nd against the Geldings. I thought it was a really good run, held out the back, and she kind of kept weaving through the pack and, tried to make a challenge, but obviously didn't get close to the winner. But I think she's a good horse, and back against her own sex, I think she could take some beating, Lucia is an interesting one for me because Nico's rode her twice before, and is it Sean Bowen? Is he on
James
it?
Bowen.
James Bowen's riding her on Saturday. So I thought that was quite an interesting
He has rode her once before, though. He has rode her once before.
Yeah,
the only thing I will say on that, obviously, that could be a telling thing, but it might be something along the lines of if they think it's not going to be on, Nico maybe didn't want to travel or go down south. He's gone to Ascot, I think, or something like that. But carry on.
Yeah, I think he's have to Ascot. But yeah, this is the mare that I really like. I mentioned her as like a dark horse to follow on your Jumpers to Follow series.
Yeah.
So she's one that I'm going to be taking an interest in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. I mean, I kind of always say I don't really take entry form into consideration, but I mean, it was a good run behind Irish Point against the boys. And I'll come to you, Joe, obviously. I mean, who are your thoughts on it? I mean, James Bowen being on Lachia over Nico might be actually a good thing for her.
Yeah. I'm not too sure, really. I've sort of written you where it well off. Not a great fan of the horse. Lucia, I believe, was about 3-1 last night, being nibbled pretty heavily. No secret that Nikki Henderson really, really liked the horse, and obviously she was the main one going into Cheltenham, especially for the English. She was a sharp price favourite. Just was way, way too keen. Then turned her out at Aintree. I don't think the run was too bad, getting beat by In the Pocket by two lengths, was it? Two and
3/4 lengths she got beat, yeah.
2 3/4 lengths wasn't too bad. For me, I think the money's been telling in a way that they still believe that there's a horse in there. Whether the break, she'll come back a bit fresh and too keen like she was at Cheltenham. I think I'd probably have to side with Rich here, with Katira. Like Rich said, unbeaten against her own sex. Very good run at Aintree against Irish Point. Irish Point finished just behind Marine Nationale, the form links. And I just think the slight weight given to Katira from Lucia may be very telling in this weather. I know it's on, is it £3? £2?
£2. Lucia gives Katira £2 and she gets £3 off you wear it well.
You wear it well, yeah. So she's getting weight off the top three. I'd like I say, I'd rate you wear it well off, drifted massively in the market. Probably a race I won't be having a bet on, but will be. I'm guessing whoever wins this will be the main girl, should we say, flying the flag for the English camp.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say she'd be the main UK female. I think there's one other that's not in here that's probably going to be the top of the tree for the mares for the UK, but we'll talk about it later on. I do think it's a really good race. I think it's a tight one. I think, like you said, I've kind of put it between Lucia and Catiera, and I think the way obviously Rich really likes Catiera, and I think the weight allowance could be quite a thing, but they've both obviously gone to Aintree and run quite well. Lucia maybe didn't perform too well at Cheltenham, but I think they've both run well against the boys at Aintree. So I think it's between these two. And I think I am just going to side with Catiera as well. I quite like her. I think she's going to run well. I think she'll win this. I mean, they've both run well on soft ground. They've both won on soft ground. Obviously, it's going to be more than soft. It's going to be quite heavy. I just think Lucia, she was like you said there, she was really keen that first run out. I know she shot a one before she went to Cheltenham, but those were both on good ground. She went to Cheltenham on soft and kind of didn't perform, but the run at Aintree was decent. I don't know. I think there's just something swaying me towards Catiera now. I mean, it isn't really a betting race for me. It's more of a probably look at the race. And if you really like one of these two, and you maybe want to back them for Cheltenham as well, I'd probably be looking at getting them in your anti-post book if you like one of them, because whoever wins this will shorten probably considerably, especially if one of them wins it well. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes. But I'm just going to side with Catiera. I quite like her. I think she'll win. But I do think it'll be quite tight. It's a tough race to call, but an exciting one to watch. Fantastic. So that's hat trick for Catiera. Brilliant. One of horses, Rich's horses to follow back in that series we did before. Right then, so two more races to go. We'll look at the 225, the Bet365 hurdle over 3 mile. Now you've got a couple of old heads in here. 9-year-old Time Hill back over hurdles. Dashel Drasher, who ran really well in the stayers. Botox Hask, Garlaw back over hurdles. Ambitious Fellow, Red Risk. I'll come to you, Joe. Is it going to go to Time Hill to just win this? He's better than this lot, surely, isn't he?
I quite like. Well, I don't like him. I'll be rooting for him. Dashel Drasher here. Um,
Hang on,
I know
Craig.
you-
Craig commented. Evening, Craig. Evening, Craig. Welcome to
Evening,
the
Craig.
podcast.
Welcome, Craig.
A quick note. In fact, I'll mention it at the end. Carry on then, Joe. But glad to see you on, Craig, mate.
Yeah. Obviously, I know people say Time Hill's probably the best horse in here, and he has been. But James, I know if anyone has watched, James put up Tiahupu for the Stays next year. And he beat him. He never. I know it was reversed, but he finished alongside of Tiahupu at Cheltenham, and then he's obviously gone to Aintree and finished sixth. But like we say, an old horse just had a 3 mile slog at Cheltenham. The horse seems to run very well on reappearance. I don't know. I just think Time Hill's sort of dropped off. Dashel Drasher still seems to have it. And I won't be having a bet, but I will be rooting for Dashel Drasher. I think he'll probably go from the front here. I know he did it in the Stays and got nailed late on. But form-wise, last season, he is probably the one to beat. And we'll all see, but I'm fingers crossed the 10-year-old will get there in front. I mean, it's just a 10-year-old. I like him.
Nice. I'll just stick this comment on. Jordan's tuned in. Jordan, cheers for tuning in, mate. We do appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, to watching, to listening to us talk shite for a bit, and on a meeting that's probably going to be off, but we're having a good time. I'll come to you, Rich. I mean, Time Hill obviously tried chasing, didn't really work out. I mean, a couple of times you were thinking, my days, he can't jump a twig. But I mean, Dashel Drasher, which one are you siding with? Are you going with one of the others?
No, it's got to be Time Hill. He brings the best hurdles form to this. It's a poor race, in my opinion. You know, Dashel Drasher finished second in a Stayers that was won by a 15-year-old horse.
You're saying Tiahupu's no good then?
No, Tiahupu, Florin Port was in behind.
Unbelievable form.
Unbelievable.
Dashel Drasher has beaten the 2024 Stayers Hurdle champion already.
Where did he finish at Aintree? About 8th.
I don't look at Aintree form, mate. It was
already said that, Rich.
Dashel Drasher only finishes second, and he only finishes second at Cheltenham. Time Hill's just the best hurdler in this division. You know, he was second in the Stayers Hurdle, the same as Dashel Drasher. You know, he had that good battle with Champ. I think it was Ascot. You know,
to be fair, one more thing, you could say Dashel Drasher was actually third. Tiahupu did actually beat him.
Yeah, very true.
Well, there you go. It gets even worse form, doesn't it?
Tiahupu.
Sorry, carry on. Obviously, he's not a chaser. He didn't take defences. They reverted back to hurdles in April. He finished 4th, but it was a very reduced trip. Was it 2.5 miles, maybe something like that?
Yeah, he was only beaten by 2 lengths, though. Really,
he was staying out at the end. You know, this step up to 3 miles is going to be right up his street. He likes the hurdles. I just think he's a good bet. You know, I think people have kind of forgotten just how good he was over hurdles since he's run over the fences. Kind of disappointed, but yeah, I just think he's the best horse in the race for this. I can't have Dashel Drasher.
Yeah, I mean, it is a tough race. It's a good little race. I like it when these old heads come back, and I'm glad to see him going at it. I think it's a decent race. I think Time Hill. I'm glad they've gone back over hurdles. Obviously, chasing didn't work out. He is still 9. He's only 9 years old. He's still got a few years left in him. But I mean, Dashel Drasher's form isn't too bad. He was obviously second to Marie's Rock at Cheltenham, and then he was second to Gold Tweet. I backed him that day. I was gutted when the Frenchie just come out of nowhere and was like an absolute rocket for some reason, and then obviously come down the field in the Stayers. He was second, obviously, in the Stayers, but was third promoted there, and obviously didn't really perform at Aintree. I do think it's between these two. I do think it's a tough race. It's probably not a betting race. It's more of a watch and see how they get on. But if I'm gonna nail my colours to the mast,
don't do it, James.
I'm probably gonna have to go with Time Hill.
Much better.
Look, I do like Dashwood Rasher, don't get me wrong, but I mean, in fairness to what Richard said there, overall he brings the better hurdles form this time. He obviously was, fancied big time for the stayers a few times over the last couple of years, but I just think going back over hurdles, as long as he's all right and he's not going to be sort of weird over his hurdles again, I think it'll be a good race. It's going to be a proper staying race. Oh, I don't know. I'm flip flopping. He's talking my 50p bets going on Time Hill, and I'm putting 25p on Dashwood. It should be a good race, though. Let's just hope they're all good and they get round safe, because they're two really good horses, and I like them both. They've been decent servants, even though I've not won much, but it's been good to see them. Fingers crossed how they get on. Right then, the big one then. Well, we say the big one, but it's not really a big one. But the 3 o'clock, the Charlie Hall Chase. And you've obviously got Brave Man's Game. I mean, I'm getting a bit of deja vu here, Rich, because we actually spoke about Brave Man's Game versus Ahoy Signor. And obviously, Morris has got Gentleman's Game in here, Midnight Rivers in here for the Skeletons. I mean, I'll come to you first, Rich, because you're obviously a massive fan of Brave Man's Game. I mean, he just wins this, doesn't he? No matter where it is or when it is. Does he just win this?
He wins, doesn't he? I mean, last year in this, he does.
Does he?
He does. I mean, last year in this, it was the best feeling ever when he bolted up and.
I think I banged the drum of Ahoy Signor loads. I think
he'll win. Was all over Ahoy Signor.
Ahoy Signor decided, I'm just not going to jump today.
I mean, you knocked him in this, and then you had another knock at him in the King George, and then you knocked him in the Gold Cup.
All right in the Gold Cup. He'll never win a Gold Cup, ever.
I mean, he got close. Closer than you thought he was going to do.
Well, he didn't get close, did he? What did he get beat?
7 lengths.
7 lengths close, that, yeah. Anyway,
yeah, I mean, the only concern I've got with him is how much of a mark has the Gold Cup effort taken out of him. I mean, it's the same question I've got with Galloping, It's very rare or it's very hard for a horse to come back and win 2 Gold Cups. I mean, we saw it. Was it Mike Bite when he took on
Native River?
Yeah. I mean,
he did the same again, unfortunately. Great horse, though.
Absolutely broke him. So it is tough to get back. It all depends on how much that's taken out of him. I think Nichols has said that he is jumping and doing well at home. So fingers crossed everything seems all right. But it does take a bit to get over. But yeah, I mean, you won it last year, beating your favourite Ahoy Senor. He reopposes here. Probably going to get the same outcome, if I'm honest with you. It's only a prep one for when he wins the King George, in my opinion.
I mean, it's a weird one. Obviously, he's probably the most likely winner, but I mean, I wouldn't be backing him 8-11 on me personally. I know a few people might have snuck in at the anti-post market as the news was sort of breaking, but I was obviously in rejoice when Nichols finally came to his senses and says, look, we are going to Charlie Hall, and all the old Betfair Chase talked to me with a load of tosh. There was no way he's going to risk him on this. The weather we were having for the last couple of weeks, there was no way he's going to risk another 2 or 3 weeks on top of potential even more rain. I mean, we've had a bad enough rain where we're talking about Wetherby maybe even being off. So I mean, who knows what will happen if it does get, if it gets rescheduled to say next week, I think it'll be better for him because I think we're due a bit of dry weather next week, so it might dry up enough and he'll come along another week for it and it'll be fine for him. But I did think that was a bit of a joke, but I'm glad he is coming here. I do think he will win. I think Gentleman's Game in here is an interesting one.
Sorry, James, can you just say that again?
I think he might win, but I definitely won't be backing him at 8-11. No way in a million years. And I will be praying that he does get beat. Obviously, I hope he gets round safe and all that malarkey. But if Ahoy Signor was to win this, I would be dancing down the street with my pants around my head. And that's not a sight you want to see. But I'll come to you, Joe. I mean, obviously, it's a prep run for the Gold Cup and the King George. I mean, I do think the King George might be a little bit deeper this year. I think we might see a few little surprises of horses turning up if certain horses are back. There's a few horses in there that maybe have been out injured and we're coming back and now. And I think there'll be a few more horses in there. It'll be a tougher King George this time round, I hope, compared to last year. I mean, what are your thoughts on this and Brave Man's Game going forward?
Yeah, I mean, Brave Man's Game just gets beat, doesn't he?
I don't know why I've never warmed to him. Maybe it's because you love him so much, Rich, that I've just decided to not like him.
I think he was always. I think he was always one of them. He was a bit of not a letdown horse, but he'd look very impressive, and then he'd just throw in a bad performance. I remember when Ahoy Senor did beat him. I think it was the end, not the end of last season, the season before. He bombed out. I think it was four runners, and he finished fourth by 60 lengths. But last season, I think we've seen a different Brave Man's game. I think it was more complete, bigger horse, stronger. I mean, don't get me wrong, Galloping Deschamps, I don't think Brave Man's game would ever get beat by Galloping Deschamps would ever get beat by Brave Man's game, but he did give it a good go. He's definitely the best of the English, isn't he? Like Rich said, whether that Gold Cup did leave a mark on him, I'm not sure. I did see on, I believe it was Megan Nichols' Twitter or something like that, Brave Man's game jumped and he looked full of it. He was very...
Looked very keen, didn't he?
Yeah, he was jumping. He looked happy. You never know. I mean, I know Brave Man's game had a good season last year. He's bombed out, not as many times, but Ahoy Senor's bombed out as well. Like you say, the Morris horse is interesting. Already had a prep run. Only 4 horses in it. I'd like to see more, to be honest, but I wouldn't be having a bet on him. But I think Brave Man's game, if he's back to the Gold Cup form or anywhere near that, I think he'll take this and do it easily.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them. I mean, I think Gentleman's Game, the interest one, he's obviously had a run over fences. Well, he's had a couple of runs over fences. He beat Iron Maximus by 8 lengths. Well, obviously that was back in December 22, but then he's come back at Gowran on heavy ground against Easy Game and obviously been beaten by a length. But I think if you go back and watch that race, I'm pretty sure that it was a decent run. Yeah, and he just obviously got up against a vastly more experienced horse and Easy Game and run quite well. So I think if anything's going to push Brave Man's game on Saturday, I think it would be him. I think him being a little bit race fit, taxing ground. I mean, if it's going to be tough ground, right? And if it is on Saturday, right, and he runs him, Cobden's not going to get serious on Brave Man's game if it's coming down to a battle. You would have thought where I think Gentleman's Game will be there to try and win, similar to like the Betfair Chase. Well,
he'll not be near him. Brave Man's game.
This is the thing, obviously. If Brave Man's game's up and away, if he's jumping like he normally does, and he's got them beat early on, but Gentleman's Game's not. He's won a beginner's chase and done all right against Easy Games. He's improving. He's the up and comer. He's obviously got a lot to find. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's going to go and win, but if he's within a couple of lengths coming to sort of second last, and Cobden maybe has to get a bit serious. Is he going to get serious? Is he going to want to push him on that sort of ground? Probably not. But we see him a little bit like, oh well, I'm going to row away a little bit, but I'm not going to get serious. It could be one of them. And then you see Ahoy Senor bouncing out in front, and suddenly you're thinking, oh my lord. So I might play the reverse forecast, Ahoy Senor Gentleman's Game. No, it's in all seriousness though. Obviously, Brave Man's game. You do like him, Rich. He's a good horse. I will always back against him for some reason, but maybe it's because I just want to back against him.
If you look at the ratings, Brave Man's game's rated 173, is he? Something like that? Maybe 172. Gentleman's game's 154.
What's how you said you are?
169.
Ooh.
Yeah, but don't forget, I mean, you've also got to remember that he's only had 2 chase starts, Gentleman's Game, so it's one of them where they could improve to be a very good chaser. He's had a race already. There's a little bit of fitness edge on his side. If it's taxing ground, it's one of them. We all know Nichols won't want to bottom him out.
I think we'll know early on. If Brave Man's game comes out and he's jumping as slick as we know it can be, I just don't think anything gets near it, because that's how he makes the lengths and takes lengths out of all the horses. If he's not jumping so well, potentially that's when you might think.
Do you think it could get a bit tactical, or do you think Brave Man's game will just go from the front?
I think he'll just go from the front, personally.
Yeah, I think for me it'll be Ahoy Senor will go off in front, and you'll have Brave Man's game. Because if Ahoy Senor's one of them where if he goes off in front and he jumps really well, he is a really good stayer. But it's a massive question mark on whether he jumps. if he jumps like he did in like the Aintree race that time where he won, or if he jumps like the Charlie Hall before where he got beat by Braveman's Game, I mean, he jumped like, as Thingy used to say, a bag of spanners. He's got no chance. But I do think if Braveman's Game's jumping away and he's jumping smoothly, I think he'll pick it up and take it away. And if anything's within any distance, that's when you might be worried. But he's probably going to win, but it's too short a price, and we'll soon find out. But yeah, Braveman's Game. I'm going to play the trifecta. I'm going to play the reverse trifecta on Hoisting Your, Gentleman's Game, and Midnight River. I don't think he finishes in top 3, Braveman's Game. Right then, well, that's it then. That's it for tonight's episode. Obviously, we've got Wetherby's one of them. We've had a little bit of a decent time going through that. We hope it's on, but we'll see. If it's not, we'll probably talk about it all again when it is on. But we'll go through naps and next best, and then we'll just mention anything else. But what's your next best, Rich, for the weekend?
Katira for me, next best.
Nice, Joe. What about you?
Dashel Drasher.
I'm going to go for Gentleman's Game for my next best.
Oh.
My nap, obviously I mentioned it earlier, Famous Bridge. I think he's the nap of the weekend. I really like him. I think he'll go and win. If it isn't on, he is entered in air on Saturday or Sunday. I forgot which one it is, but if it isn't on, he may well run there. But I do like Famous Bridge, so he's going to be my nap. What about you, Joe?
I'm following the footsteps, mate. Famous Bridge, that's what I was writing there, nap next to Famous Bridge. Like you said there, unexposed, but pretty solid in a way. Looks the one to beat for me. I think everyone else in the race has big holes in.
And I wonder who your nap is, Rich?
My nap is Braveman's Game.
Fantastic. Well, that's it for today's episode. And have you got anything else that you maybe like to mention? I know it's going to be a bit decimated. I know Thingy was off today. I want it. Lingfield was off. I know Johnny Who, a couple of people like Johnny Who, I think he's entered at Carlisle on that Sunday. So there's still going to be some good racing if they all decide to go there. But have you got anything else, Rich?
There's a few.
America.
If there's anything on the flat, I'm muting you right now.
I'm just going to go through the list, and if anything comes up, it just appears. So Friday, Wetherby 410. I quite like Diamond Ree. But again, if it's on, there's another question. But 13-length bumper winner at Warwick in March on 2 miles. Next hurdles day over the same trip. Potentially could be quite handy. On to Saturday, air at 12 o'clock. You've got Indivar Blue. And again, 12-length bumper winner at Wetherby.
Gets beat that.
What with the is it the Nicky Richards horse? I think that's could be quite decent as well.
Yep.
We've got Wetherby on the Saturday, 12:40. Cherie Diam, I think that's how you pronounce it. Again, an 8th-length bumper winner at Utoxeter, heavy going. So like the ground, steps up in trips, 2 miles 3. And I think that would be too much of an issue. Moving on to Ascot, the 12:55 Immortals, one I quite like. Still classed as a novice after finishing second twice over hurdles. Jockey's taking £6 off, and I believe he's had a wind surgery. So I think he could be well in, given those two things. And then there's a couple at Santa Anita that I quite like.
Yes.
The Breeders' Cup.
7:10 in Spiral is out.
Yes.
8:30, you've got Morge, and then at 10 to 10, I think Augusta Rodin takes on Mostadaf and King of Steel, I think. So,
Who'd you like in that, Rich?
Sorry?
Who'd you like in that one? It's a good race, that.
I've always been a King of Steel fan, but
14 days after. It's a tight turnaround, isn't it?
I think Mostadaf has probably got a good chance, hasn't he, in this?
Yeah, 100%. Love the good ground.
You've seen a bit of sleep here, lads.
But Morge and Spiral Double's the one that I quite like over in America on the Saturday. That's all you got from me. That's it. Done.
Yeah,
fantastic. I mean, to be fair to you, the Breeders' Cup is one of them where it's quite fun to watch. To be fair, go on, Joe. What about you? Anything else before we finish?
So the same as Rich. Well, there's 3 I like on Saturday in Santa Anita, and I think in Spiral will absolutely batter the filly and mares race. think Walmart wants further. In Italian being beat this season, I think Inspiro's last run at Newmarket was brilliant. Morge, fingers crossed we can see Oisin Murphy ride a winner out there. We've got a great combination, unbeaten this season, loads of ones next to the name. And I really do like Mostadaf in Santa Anita. I think this horse will look, it's a very, very sharp, quick trip there. And I think Mostadaf will love it, especially after seeing Mostadaf go from the front at York, kept finding against Paddington and Ashwa. I wouldn't put you off the treble. James, what do you like in Santa Anita?
I'll go for Augusta Road then. He'll probably win. Hang on a sec. Here we go. I've just got a comment here. John's piped up. Hey, John, good evening, mate. Glad to see you on the watching the podcast. I'll put your comment up. So he's put Apple will run the legs off Irocco again. She'll be even better over 3 miles. She doesn't get tired. You keep writing her off, even if she doesn't win tomorrow. Long season to go. Yeah, I mean, obviously you're obviously in the Apples away camp, which is it's fine. I love the fact that you're getting behind her, and I love the fact that people who are commenting. It's great. I love it. This is what it's all about, the back and forth. I mean, I do think Irocco would. I mean, I hope we get to see it. Whether we will, I'm not too sure.
She wins tomorrow.
They might jump into. Well, obviously see how she goes tomorrow. If she gets beat tomorrow, she definitely won't be beating Irocco. But I don't know if we'll see them against each other at Cheltenham, or they might come up against each other somewhere on the line, maybe. But
in my opinion,
if we don't get to see it, but I mean, for me, Irocco, how well he's schooled. We've been there and spoken to him ourselves. That's probably why I like him even more. But I don't think he'd reverse the form. But thank you for commenting, John. We do appreciate it, and I do hope we get to see him battle it out again at some point. But we shall see.
Yeah, it would be good to be fair.
I think they will do. I'm not 100% sure if it will be at Cheltenham, but I think they'll definitely meet at some point.
I don't know. I think Apollo will probably end up in handicaps.
Now she's obviously definitely going to be better than handicap. She'll definitely be up there at the decent level. I think she'll probably definitely be a player in a mare's chase. Like I say, I think that's where they'll obviously go. It's always going to be tough taking on the boys over fences. Yeah. And I've always said that over hurdles, it's a different kettle of fish. But again, it's a good debate to have. I mean, I'll just obviously thanks for the comment, John. We really do appreciate it. It's great to have a debate with you, and hopefully we have this debate all season. It'll be fun. So if she wins tomorrow, it'll be exciting to see how Irocco gets on Saturday. Craig's obviously piped up. Irocco wins.
Yes,
baby.
Craig. Come on.
I was going to mention Craig is one of the lads who helped sort us out at the Green on Guerrero Yard visit video. So if you haven't watched that already, go watch that. It's a great video, loads of insight. You get to see a bit of Irocco and things like that. So he obviously works with Irocco and day to day, knows how good he is. But it's going to be a great battle all season. But yeah, fingers crossed we get to see it and see how she gets on tomorrow if it's on. Right then, so to finish off a little bit of news, obviously Craig there from the Green on Guerrero Yard, him and hopefully one other lad, Saul Woods is going to jump on one of the podcasts. We've obviously got our Cheltenham Anti-Post video every week, and the weekend preview. We're going to start having a couple of guests on to get some guests on to talk about a few points and things, so that'll be good. They're going to jump on.
I've already found some value.
Hopefully grab a bit of value, yeah. Be interesting to see who Rich puts in his team on Monday night. I know if he is going to put a certain someone in, Monday is probably the last chance you're going to get the price at. So we'll see if he goes and takes that dive in. But yeah, so obviously the Cheltenham Anti-Post video is going to be up on Monday. Make sure you jump on that. What we're going to do is we're thinking a few people have commented their teams and things like that. So we're thinking we're going to do like a bit of a subscriber prize for the best subscribing team. So if you do want to join that, we'll give people to sort of maybe till week 10 to join and put the teams in, and we'll do some work and maybe note them down, and we'll have a bit of a prize for after Cheltenham for the best team out of the subscribers, and you can go up against us as well. So that'll be fun. Yeah, obviously the next weekend preview will be next Friday and things like that. So yeah, follow us all on Twitter. Our Twitter's at the bottom. Hang on, what's John put? Not against Apple, he wouldn't. She beat him already 1-0. Oh, he's claiming the hurdles at Aintree. He's claiming that. I mean, it pains me when he's trying to claim that win.
Cheltenham Festival.
I mean, we'll let him have it. Fair play. Can have it as 1-0. She did beat him. But go back and watch the race. He's come off well off the pace. I think they didn't know what it was going to be like over 3 miles. And now they know over fences is a weapon.
This is what we love, though, isn't it? You know, like this question. this question will not get answered till later on in the season. One of us going to be right, one of us going to be wrong. I know John.
I love John's enthusiasm for it. I think it's great. This is what we want back and forth debate. This is what we want. This is why we're here, boys.
It's Brave Man's game all over again for me. You all know.
Marine National.
John's the new Rich with Apples Away. You've got Joe Marine National and you've got Brave Man's game. But yeah, I'll die on this hill. Come on, Nirocco. What's he put here? New year, new result. Here we go. Right, well, that's us then, boys. Like I say, like and subscribe. We obviously hit 250 subscribers, which is fantastic. We're already way past that. So thank you to everyone who subscribed and comments on the videos. We do appreciate it. And keep supporting the channel and the content. We'll keep it up on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, the lot. We're on everything, Instagram. So follow it all, and any other content we'll have it up there. So yeah, that's us for another week, boys. We'll see you again on Monday night, 6 p.m. for the Cheltenham Anti-Post Week 3. And we'll be back, obviously, every Thursday night at 7 for the live weekend preview. So thank you for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Good night.